Let us continue. So we have seen the oculomotor nerve nuclear complex and Edinger-Westphal nucleus. And mesencephalic nucleus, it occupies the same position as in lower part of the midbrain. Now the other feature in the gray matter, that is the red nucleus, which is a main component of this section. Okay. So red nucleus, it is present dorsal to medial part of the substantia nigra. So this is the substantia nigra. So it is present, the red nucleus is present dorsal to the medial part of the substantia nigra. It is about 0.5 centimeters in diameter. The red nucleus is about 0.5 centimeters in diameter, and it appears ovoid in cross section. So in freshly cut sections, it will appear pink in color because of abundance of the iron pigment. So it will be extending from the level of superior colliculi till almost to the subthalamic nucleus. So this is the main component of identification of midbrain at the level of superior colliculus. This red nucleus will have ventral tegmental decussation of foramen, that is rubrospinal tract. Remember, dear students, red nucleus, it comes as a very short notes in the exam. Connections of red nucleus. Afferents. We have the cerebello-rubral fibers from contralateral half of the cerebellum, that is dentate and emboliform and globose nucleus. Then emboliform globose connected to magnocellular portion of the red nucleus, that is the older portion. Dentate fibers connected to the parvocellular portion of the red nucleus, which is the newer portion. So this is the red nucleus. So afferents coming from the emboliform and the globose nucleus, and also from the dentate fibers connected to the parvocellular portion of the red nucleus. Okay. Then to the cerebral hemisphere, that is to the ipsilateral side. Then efferents. Efferents are outgoing channels. Okay. That is rubrospinal tract. You can see here. This is the rubrospinal tract, the green color one. This is a outgoing channel from the red nucleus. Rubrobulbar tract will supply efferent fibers from red nucleus to the motor nucleus of trigeminal nerve and facial nerve. Then rubroreticular tract and rubro-olivary tract. So these are the outgoing channels from the red nucleus, which are the efferents. Dorsal tegmental decussation of Meynert, you can see here. The dorsal tegmental decussation is nothing but the dorsal tegmental decussation of Meynert. TST is nothing but tectospinal tract. Efferent fibers coming from the superior colliculi give crossing and form this decussation. Okay, efferent fibers coming from the superior colliculi, they give crossing and form decussation, that is known as dorsal tegmental decussation of Meynert, nothing but the tectospinal tract. Lemniscus. If you see the cut section, we can see the three lemnisci. One is medial lemniscus, the other is trigeminal lemniscus, and third one is the spinal lemniscus. Three lemnisci. Okay, the spinal lemniscus, the trigeminal lemniscus, and medial lemniscus. In this diagram, we can make out. The lateral lemniscus is auditory pathway. It will submerge with the inferior colliculus. So there is no lateral lemniscus at this level. Okay, you don't find any lateral lemniscus at this level. Then we have the pretectal nucleus. You can see here, this is the pretectal nucleus, present anterolateral to the superior colliculi, will directly supply fibers to Edinger-Westphal nucleus. It is concerned with pupillary light reflex. Here the superior colliculi are nothing but the nucleus of superior colliculus. Okay, that you should remember. What are the superior colliculi? So this, I told you that there is a dorsal tegmental decussation of Meynert. Remember that this is present in the white matter of the midbrain at the level of superior colliculus. Okay, at the white matter. And this one, the red nucleus, will have ventral tegmental decussation of 4L. This ventral tegmental decussation of 4L, that is rubrospinal tract. It is also present in the white matter of the midbrain at the level of superior colliculus. Superior colliculus ovoid mass present at the tectum of the midbrain. Connections afferent fibers coming from the retinotectal from retina, corticotectal fibers, that is from visual area 17, 18, 19. The afferent fibers coming from the retina, right? And from the visual area 17, 18, 19. The spinotectal fibers will carry sensations in the form of cutaneous receptors and ipsilateral inferior colliculi. The auditory impulses are coordinated with visual impulses. Then efferent, the tectospinal tract. The tectospinal tract and tectobulbar tract. Superior colliculi will send the fibers to cranial nerve nuclei 3, 4, 6 nerves, which is required for the movement of the head and neck, movement of the eye towards the source of sound. Okay, so that is due to the tectobulbar tract. These two tracts are involved in movements of the eyes and head and neck towards the auditory stimuli, movements of the eyes and head and neck towards the cutaneous stimulation, tight closure of the eyelids when exposed to the bright light, scanning movements of the objects whenever your eyes are scanning the objects which are moving to and fro. This movement is controlled by tectospinal as well as tectobulbar tracts. Moving the head and neck towards the source of the auditory stimuli. So these are all the functions of these two tracts, the tectospinal tract and tectobulbar tracts. So these are all the features which we have seen. The transverse section of the midbrain at the level of superior colliculi. We have seen in the central gray matter oculomotor nucleus, that is oculomotor, the nuclei of two sides, they fuse to form a single complex, that is oculomotor nerve nuclear complex. Okay, not right and left side, but the nuclei of right and left side, they together fuse and they form one complex, that is oculomotor nerve complex. Then we have seen the Edinger-Westphal nucleus in the central gray matter. Then we have seen the mesencephalic nucleus. Okay, then we discussed about the red nucleus. Okay, and in the white matter, we discussed about the dorsal segmental decussation of mean dorsal tegmental decussation of mean that is tectospinal tract. Then we have discussed about the rubrospinal tracts. So these are the features, both the gray and white matter of the midbrain at the level of superior colliculus. Coming to the clinical anatomy, Weber syndrome. There may be occlusion of oculomotor nerve because of there will be unilateral paralysis of uveter palpebrae superioris. There will be unilateral ptosis, drooping of the eyelid. Loss of sphincter pupillae and ciliaris muscle. Pupil will remain dilated and fixed. Lateral squint or the strabismus, in which the lateral rectus is normal. Involvement of pyramidal tract, upper motor neuron type of paralysis in opposite side of the body. Benedict's syndrome, lesion of red nucleus, function of red nucleus will also lost. Medial lemniscus is involved, conscious muscle joint sensation along with the touch pressure is lost. This is on the opposite contralateral half. Oculomotor nerve lesion, symptoms of Weber syndrome. Then there is one more syndrome, that is Perinaud syndrome. The compression of the tectum region by pineal gland in the area of the superior collicula, it will produce the upward gaze syndrome. You can see the images of the Perinaud syndrome. Okay, so with this we have completed sections of the midbrain. In the previous class, we discussed TS of the midbrain at the level of inferior colliculus, and this is about TS of the midbrain at the level of superior colliculus. You should remember the features present in the white matter and features present in the gray matter. And in case of superior colliculus, the red nucleus is very, very important. The connections of the red nucleus. Okay. Thank you very much.